I am watching a woman smoke meth right now. This is the first time I've ever experienced something like that. Hopefully the first and last.
My last video, I had an interview with Paco. He made me question everything I thought I knew about homeless people's lives. During our conversation, Paco's banter about girls sparked a revelation with me. I couldn't help but wonder, what are homeless women really like? Are there a lot around? Turns out there's a bunch. Approximately 30% of the 75,000 homeless people in LA are women. I had a bunch of questions that needed answering. I just needed to find a homeless lady. That was easier said than done because many of them were not in a state where I could coherently interview them. I took to the streets on my skateboard, hoping to encounter women that were willing to shed light on their stories just like Paco did. After some time, I found someone trekking around like the light bills do and the bank's about to close.
Hey, can I ask you questions?
That's Molly. I was not expecting her to even sit down and answer all my ridiculous personal questions, even though she only met me 3 minutes prior. She really surprised me. It's even more surprising to know that throughout the interview, she was under the influence of one of the deadliest street drugs, fentanyl, or Fetty, as she likes to refer to it as. And seriously, this stuff is like crack in the 80s on crack. Like, it's very dangerous. You won't believe this, but speaking to Molly turned out to be one of the most fluid, personal, and eye-opening exchanges I've ever experienced. She was very well-spoken, clear, and concise. I wish the girls I rizzed up were as interesting to talk to. Let's take a closer look into her life, struggles, and philosophies. Before we start, I must apologize for the bad audio at some points. Secondly, scroll a little, like, and subscribe for more content like this. I promise it'll get better and crazier. Thanks.
How old are you?
I'm gonna be 26 tomorrow, actually.
When did you get on the streets? We're nearly the same age. I'm 25.
I got on the streets around 1920.
What made you do it?
Well, my parents are great people, and they know that I struggle with health issues. Like, I was in 3 car accidents, so my back's way f***ed up, and then I developed something called chronic fatigue syndrome, which is have you heard of it?
It's in the name.
Right. But it's way past fatigue. It's a heavy feeling, full, I don't even know how to describe it.
I see.
I was in bed for 2 years, no drugs, and I was just hella depressed. I was really close to ending it just because here I am, college age. I'm sitting in my parents' house in my room, watching my life go by and watching everyone else live theirs, and I was it's not fair, So my parents know that I do drugs and they know why I do drugs, but as parents, they cannot condone it under their household.
So where are you from?
I was born in Lithuania, but I grew up in Seal Beach.
In Seal Beach?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, Lithuania is cool. I wouldn't have guessed. I would have guessed you're maybe Russian or, something like that. But yeah, Baltic. That's cool.
Have you been there?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So what would you say are some of the struggles you face as a woman, especially a young woman, out here?
Well, do I have to say one, or because I got a couple of them?
Go ahead. Open book.
The first one I would say is a major struggle is all of the dudes, homeless and not homeless, feeling it's acceptable and appropriate to come up to me and be inappropriate to me in one way or another. It happens constantly, and it really brings down my self-esteem because then I'm just feeling okay, so all these dudes just look at me like I'm a sex object, and there's nothing after that. So that really upsets me. And oh my gosh, another thing, finding bathrooms, finding outlets, finding water is the struggle.
Mm.
They've turned off all the outlets, the ones that work, right? Or
Yeah.
they've covered them. A lot of people turn off their water now, and I mean, I don't know when this world shifted from a giving type of mentality
Altruistic, yeah.
to a no, this is mine. And you
Yeah.
can't have any mentality, you know what I mean?
So you like have you had someone you've like stayed with before who, like they had a tent, you were crashing there, you guys had like a full on place, or
Oh yeah, many times I've had that.
what
Yeah.
stopped that for you?
Because what would happen like 99% of the time is that someone would end up catching feelings and the other person would not end up catching feelings, and
I'm
so it was
assuming
this.
you are the one that doesn't catch feelings.
Well, your words. No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah. But yeah, so then it would just create this very uncomfortable and like tense like atmosphere, and then we would start bickering and fighting, and that's a wrap, after that.
Was it over drugs?
No, it was mostly over why I didn't want to be with them, like what was wrong with them.
What are some of the reasons that you'd say like you don't want to be with one of these guys? Is it because they're homeless?
Well, first of all, I like girls a lot better than I like dudes. So if I were to go out with a dude, I would have to really, really, really like him, like with, my heart and soul and stuff. And I just haven't found that person.
How is the dating scene now for like homeless people? How the hell are you guys meeting? How are you, establishing like, yeah, I want to date you, Like what are dates like?
Okay, well, dates would technically be like, let's go try and find an outlet so we can charge our phone. Or let's go stand in line at this free food
The mission
thing
over here?
Yeah, a mission, or whoever's giving away free food, stand in line, and that's a little date right there, like
Just get to know each other.
you're right. And let's go smoke. That's like a very popular
Meth
one.
or weed?
Both. Like
Okay.
everything is smoked. Even crack is still smoked.
You smoke crack?
No, not me.
Okay.
But I was surprised to find out that it was still smoked.
Yeah, I found that out earlier today, and I found out some of the prices too.
Really?
Like, yeah, I thought meth was like $5. Like, no, this is like $60.
I mean, it depends on how much you're getting. You know what I mean? How much?
Yeah.
How much were you trying to get?
I'm not trying to get the meth. No, this is not for me.
Oh, okay.
I was
okay.
asking. I just interviewed another guy. He had a tent. He showed me around his tent and everything.
Okay,
I was hoping you had one, but yeah.
Sorry, just a visitor.
It's cool. Where do you usually chill? Samo or like here?
Well, MacArthur Park. That's like my home.
You got like a bench and there, or?
Well, you can really sleep anywhere you find comfortable. You don't really have to have a tent or a bench. If you have enough blankets, you can make it comfy as hell on the floor. You know what I mean? Just make sure you're not in anyone's way and they're walking by. So, yeah.
That's cool. What would you say are some of like the stereotypes that homeless people get that maybe like you don't think should be applicable?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know if this is a stereotype, but the fact that all homeless people are crazy and like aren't stable and can't get a job and won't work and all that jazz. Is that a stereotype? I mean, I would think it would be.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. That's one I don't agree with. One that I do agree with, however, is that pretty much all homeless people have a drug or alcohol problem. And I think the reason why that is because we've essentially made doing drugs illegal. So we have all these barriers in front of us just to get, the drug that we want, because to be honest, it don't matter what kind of barriers you put in front of somebody. If they want that drug, they're gonna get that drug, right?
Yeah.
But basically, it doesn't matter how many barriers you put in front of someone. If they want that drug, they're going to get that drug, and they're going to go through those barriers. But it's going to cost them significant amount of either money or time or effort or physical energy or, whatever it is,
Yeah. I get you.
How do you solve that? Well, I would love the government to try to regulate all drugs like they've tried to regulate weed, where you can walk into a shop and get what you want, pay for it. It's I don't know if it's taxed or not. But
yeah, I'm sure there are taxes on weed and everything.
Right. But then in going out with that program, I would just love to see like how many homeless people would be able to get off the streets if they removed a lot of those barriers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I certainly think that I would.
So you think if, let's say you had a job, well, I don't know about your job situation, but in the case
Right.
that, yeah, you had a job, you're working a full-time job, 9 to 5, in an office somewhere, and you have your own place and everything, your own apartment, but if you could go to a dispensary and buy meth and just smoke on like your lunch break,
Mm-hmm.
you think you'd still be able to live like a functional life and everything?
Definitely. Because I have before. It just wasn't with meth. It was doctor prescribed pills.
Like what? Xanax, shit like that.
Xanax, hydrocodone, muscle relaxers.
Was that your gateway into doing this?
No, my gateway was way when I was way younger, 14, when I did hydrocodone for the first time. I feel like at that time I might have been very like upset and depressed about my home life situation, and so I remember when this dude was like, "Hey, do you want to like get high?" I was like, "Why not? I'm already feeling pretty like down in the ditch, and I just want to feel better." So
he was older?
No, he was in my grade.
That's crazy. How the fuck was he getting that?
His mom had him in the cabinet, and I guess his mom would like come home from work like at 6. He came home from school at like 3 or 4, so he would just snag that shit.
I see. How do you? I mean, you have a f***ing Elf bar, for Christ's sakes, and aren't they like expensive? How did you afford this?
I found it.
Oh, that's cool.
Right, very cool. But there's also places I know where you can actually buy them for like $10 each. The thing I love about these ones in particular is that they have so much liquid in them, you could literally vape on them for months, and they're rechargeable.
Yeah, I was noticing the charger. I won't take it. Don't worry.
No, it's okay. I just it's probably not going to be that flavor because I actually added vape juice to that.
What would you say are like? How do you think this homelessness in general could be alleviated? Do you think the government needs to provide more housing, or is this something you think is just going to be inevitable and everyone's going to do?
I believe it's inevitable that we're going to have some people on the streets because some people like to be on the streets. They do not like to function out in the real world, and they cannot function out in the real world, not because they have mental illness per se, but because they like to be out here. I've heard that from a few people. So
do you?
No, I don't. I'd rather much be inside of an apartment or something.
Okay. I've heard some people say they prefer the freedom of being able to wake up, do whatever the they want, smoke meth, girls, like that.
The lack of responsibility, who doesn't want to wake up and do whatever the they want? You know what I mean?
Rich people.
What's that?
Rich people.
Rich people. That's right. I guess it depends on like what side of the coin you're on. Rich people long for the average life, and then regular people or poor people long for the riches. You know what I mean? It's like the grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah.
How would I fix the homelessness problem? I think they've done a great job. The government has, particularly with offering homeless people services, and making it super affordable because a lot of their services are free. And
Like what services in particular?
like free phones,
Yeah,
the
free
Obama phones. I think it was Medi-Cal or Medicaid. When you go to a doctor, like walk in, I don't think there's a copay you have to pay.
You don't pay shit. You go to a doctor often?
Well, I don't have Medi-Cal, but I've heard from other people you
Okay.
don't have to pay. And then when you get prescribed meds, I think that's covered too. You don't have to pay anything. Don't quote me on it, but that's
Yeah.
just what I've heard, you know.
So how do you check in on yourself? How do you take care of yourself? Like, are there any, when you need to get help for your back, for example, what are you doing for that? You don't go to the doctor at all?
No, not anymore, because the logistics of it and what they would give me doesn't rival to what I'm using now. And the fact of going to a doctor's office, you gotta shower. You can't go in there smelling bad, or else it's like everyone will just like be like, whoa, like, you know
Like,
what I
what
mean?
yeah.
Right. And then transportation, how are you getting there? And then, there's all these little in between factors, and how do you have money to eat breakfast? You know what I mean? Like, how are you gonna get the money to go get food, And so like things that take like quote unquote normal people like no time at all can take a homeless person hours, like getting a shower. Yesterday I waited in line for a shower for like 4 hours.
Where? Here? Or
At the
MacArthur?
At the Refresh Center in downtown LA.
I've never heard of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you go to like Venice Beach or something? Because they have like, the outdoor showers and shit.
Because I like how easy it is to find drugs out here.
Oh, okay. Because there's a lot of homeless guys in Venice. They've got tents and shit set up, and it's like, holy shit, you're living a life. You're living right on the beach. You're chilling. There's a lot of rich people who go there, but
it's really acceptable to do my drug of choice here.
And that is meth?
Fentanyl.
You don't get scared doing that shit?
No.
You're not scared for your life?
No.
What got you into fent?
My back.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Are you afraid like it's fake fent or like?
I can usually tell. I've only gotten fake fent once.
And what did that do to you?
Oh man, it was crazy. I wandered around the city like aimlessly for hours. It was like someone took my brainstem and cut it. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, oh, like just walking around like. Yeah, that shit was crazy. It's only happened once. The one thing I'm more worried about is the horse tranquilizer, the xylazine that they're putting in the Betty. I've heard it can cause necrotic tissue, like eat away at your tissue. I've heard it can cause other crazy symptoms. It's very bad for your circulatory system over time, and
you're more coherent and like easier to talk to than like a lot of sober people. Where'd you get your conversation skills from?
Maybe it could have been from like my family. They taught me a lot. I have a lot of good qualities because of them. Very polite,
Yeah, and you just smoked meth for Christ's sakes, and you're still giving the responses, can talk. Not really boring to talk to,
Thank you. I actually took a hit of fentanyl. Actually.
Oh, it's fent. Okay.
Yeah.
No wonder. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. So, like, what are some of the effects that you've noticed from yourself, whether it be positive or negative, from you being in this lifestyle?
I hate to say this, but a lot of negative. Out here. I never knew what true evil was until being out here. I mean, there's some true evil out here on the streets that I never wanted to know about. You know what I mean?
What are some of the things that you experience?
I've almost been kidnapped a couple times. I've heard stories from other females of, um, them being raped or, getting beaten every day, like violent things. Um, you know, because I grew up in Orange County, it's, I mean, the way that I saw it, there was none of those people there.
Yeah.
In Seal Beach, no, there was none of those people there. And if they were there, they did not come out, or I didn't see them. But here, it almost seems like it's appropriate. You know what I mean? And that's very scary, to live like that, because I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to be in all the scary stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to live life the best way that I can.
What's your ideal life?
I would have an apartment and I would have a little kitten.
Oh, I thought you say kid.
No, kitten. Because I've had kittens previously, but certain circumstances had led them to pass away, unfortunately. So yeah, I would want a kitten, and I would live close to my family so I can see them and talk to them frequently. And I would have a lock on my door so I can leave my stuff somewhere, and when I come back it'll be there. That's like something like simple like that would like make me very happy. And then like of course like having a job that I like and that isn't so physically strenuous to me.
What kind of job would you want to do?
That's a good question. I haven't really thought about it too much. I mean, I've thought about kind of like, I love picking up trash, to be honest, because the whole pollution thing really bothers me.
Oh, you're an environmentalist.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind picking up trash for a living, to be honest with you.
I see. Well, so you do that like as a hobby now? Like,
Yeah.
There's a lot of trash here. I don't. That's one thing that pisses me off is like the trash. It's like there's fucking trash cans and all that, and it would bring less attention if there were no trash around.
I have been known to spend several hours picking up trash in one specified location. LA was gonna come out with this great new thing that they were doing. They even had signs posted on some of the lights. You know, the lampposts, light posts. And they were gonna have cleanup crew on these certain streets on certain days, like Tuesday, Thursday. They were gonna go on these streets. And Monday, Wednesday, they were gonna go on these streets. And I was like, wow, they're finally doing something about the trash, and this is gonna be awesome. And I wonder if they're going to be able to employ homeless people to clean up the trash, so then homeless people can be, making a wage, and it's all positive, However, I don't believe that ever came to fruition. I don't know what happened to that program, and I haven't seen a sign in quite a while, so that's disappointing. But I feel like a large frustration too of LA is that they feel like when they clean up a certain area, it just gets wrecked, immediately.
I'm gonna check my phone, by the way.
Okay.
You can keep talking.
It just gets wrecked immediately, and I can express that anger and frustration. However, I do believe maintenance is very important, because if you just let something go and go and go and saturate, it's a lot harder to clean up once you finally get around to it. So who really cares if it's getting trashed right after you clean it up? At least it's getting maintained to a certain degree.
I see. This question just popped in my head. How long did it take you to sober up from fent? Like, you just took one hit, but like, is that it? You need to, every hour, you just go hit your...
I don't think I'm really sober from that hit. I think I'm still a little bit high. I can feel it. I take about, maybe depending on the quality, anywhere between 3 to maybe like 8 hits. Because I've had some really bad stuff before where I would sit there, I smoked the whole 20 sack, and it was like, wow, 10 minutes went by, and I'm like, oh, my sack's gone.
Because it was just quality and you didn't feel anything?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, like maybe more like 3 to 6 hits is like a better range, I would say.
So, like, how are you getting this shit? Like, are there drug dealers on the street? You're cool with these guys?
There's drug dealers on the street. There's users on the street. They're in the park. They're everywhere in MacArthur Park. Everywhere. There's even a designated alley where the fentanyl smokers go.
So you guys have your own little, like, crew of fent guys.
Essentially, yes. We're not all connected, but it's just we all know what places to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, like, do they give it to you for free?
Absolutely not.
Why not? You're a girl.
Because it's a very expensive drug.
I didn't realize it was expensive.
Yeah.
How much does Fent usually cost?
Okay, so I used to buy Fent 0.1 every $10. However, I feel like it's gotten a little bit cheaper, so I would say it could go anywhere between $5 for every 0.1 to maybe $7-8 for every 0.1, and so then of course like 0.2 it would be anywhere between like $10 to like yeah, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you can easily make like $5 a day.
Yeah, you could if you have the motivation.
What would you say? I wonder what's going on. What would you say? Like, what are some ways you earn money? Do you like just sell shit? Like, I found a skateboard. I'm gonna go sell it to some guy for $20.
Sometimes you have to.
I gotcha.
Thank you. Sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do to make money.
What would you say is something like that? You don't have to get too
boosting. I hate boosting.
What is boosting? Stealing from cars?
From stores.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate doing it, but I've had to do it more than a couple times. Because recycling is just you put in too much effort for no
so
reward.
Little.
Yeah, so little, and then what would the other one be? Panhandling. I feel like it's been very hard to have people donate to the good cause. Because it feels like we're in some sort of depression right now. People seem to be a little bit more like with their money, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because we're on a looming economic collapse, so
yeah.
House values are going down, everything.
No. You guys alright?
No, I'm busy.
I thought that fool was gonna come punch me or something. That's what it looked like.
Is that like?
I have no idea who that is, but the look on his face, I thought I was gonna get punched out just now.
I see. Have you ever been like attacked by someone?
Yeah.
A
females,
guy?
Females.
Oh, females.
Only. Yeah.
Is it like jealousy or like you said something wrong to him?
It was all 3 situations. It was just so stupid. It was so petty over nothing.
What happened to your friends from like school? Are you still like cool with them?
If I had access to my original Facebook, I would totally still talk to them. I haven't had access to my original Facebook in a couple years because my phone kept getting stolen out here, and I guess somebody hacked into my Gmail because it was already on one of my phones that got stolen and changed my password to my Gmail and my Facebook, and now I don't have access to those anymore, and it's pretty frustrating.
How often do you talk to your family?
I try to talk to them very often, but at least once every couple of weeks.
I see. Well, yeah, honestly, it looks like this guy's buying drugs. Right. Oh, he's telling him to off. That's cool.
Who's yelling?
I don't know, to be honest. It's getting a little
Yeah.
Nerve wracking here.
Am I good?